What's up, everybody? Coach Ceelo here, and welcome to the 42nd, I believe, episode of the No Bullshit Six Figure Sales Podcast. And today we have a guest of guests coming on board, guys. Today's guest is someone that I've been a fan of for many years. He comes from the trading space. Many of you know I'm a trading aficionado, all right? And this man is literally the Swiss Army knife of trading and entrepreneurship. He's the founder of Live Traders, ranked the #1 trading education firm for many years, mentored over 1,000 traders with some going on to manage their own hedge funds, expert in trading psychology, helping traders master the mental game of high-stake markets. I mean, we're talking modern-day Mark Douglas here, all right? Author of Prepping for Success, 10 Keys to Making It. It's a groundbreaking book on how trading principles can drive success in all areas of life. He's an angel investor, advisor to startups, franchises, businesses across multiple industries. Heck, he's an active entrepreneur with a diverse portfolio spanning real estate, startups, board positions, consultancy, and public speaking. Guys, without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Mr. Anmol Singh. Anmol, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to chatting with you. How's your day been so far?
Man, my day is fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so glad to have you on here. You know, I always just like to dig in and get right into it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how Anmol Singh became Anmol Singh?
Yeah, definitely. I think my journey really started in college. Just confused, lost, kid in the dorm room. And I went to London to do my university. So there, I didn't know anybody. I was just sort of using it as a way to recreate myself. Because like growing up in high school and everything, you kind of feel like you don't fit in or you don't really fit in or belong. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to go to London. I'm going to get my university degree. Nobody knows me there. I can be whoever I want to be. I can recreate my identity. And I use that really to push myself out of my comfort zone, being a complete shy, introverted kid to like really stepping out and actively participating in everything that I could think of. So in college is when me and a friend of mine started a trading and investing society, a trading and investing club, because we were like, there's a club for everything. You want to play soccer? There's a soccer club, basketball society, entrepreneurship club. There's no such thing as trading investing club. Why don't you and I meet up? Once a week, we'll just talk about what we read, maybe something we learned, and really try to learn this markets together. And that grew from 2 members to 5 to 20 to 30, and now like many years later, even though I've left the university a long time ago, it's still a thriving club with hundreds of members. So we started that. So it's like that's kind of my journey where it started in college, just learning about trading, and then eventually going into working for a prop firm. Prop firm is where a company has hundreds of traders that trading their company's money, and everybody trades the company's capital. The company takes a percentage of everything you make. So I started trading for them for a good 4 or 5 years. And then once I had enough of my own money saved up and the company got bought out, then I called my partner, my mentor at that time, who was my business partner for a while. I called him. I said, the company's getting bought out and we don't need to trade the company's money anymore. We have enough of our own money. Why should we give them a percentage? So that's when we started our own thing in 2015, and we've been doing that ever since.
Wow, that's Jared, right?
Yes, yeah.
Big fan of Jared as well. How can you make these things up? I remember sometimes I'd be listening. I'd put you guys YouTube videos on, and I'd be exercising or walking and just hearing all this stuff. And that's why it brought me and it brought us here to what we're talking about today. I'm a big fan of mindset, obviously, because it's a sales channel and I'm a sales trainer, right? And there's a lot of comparisons, obviously, between sales and training. They're very similar in some things, and then I figure there's at least 2 things where I think that maybe they may differ, and let me know what you think about this. Right? One is I found that you hear this a lot in personal development where they say how you do one thing is how you do everything, and you want to be integral in everything that you do in your life. But what I noticed during my trading journey was that people that were very ultra successful in their lives and other things thought that they were just going to start trading and they were going to kill it just like in everything else that they had done. And they're going to find out really fast that that's not necessarily the case, right? So that's one of the things that kind of I think differs a little. And The other one is the thought that in sales, for example, when you want to get something done and you've got an obstacle or you got an objection, you go through it, you go under it, you go over it, you go around it, you just demolish and keep going, right? Where in sales, if you've got a loser on your hands, you got to let it go. You got to cut it, right? So those are the two things that I would love to hear your opinion on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one I definitely agree. The second one, I think that stands true for trading too. Is like if a trade is not working, well, hey, just get out of that trade and get into something next because there's an opportunity cost. So same thing in your business. If the client's clearly not qualified or if it's just not going to work out, like stop spending time on that client, move on to the next one. So same thing actually with trading is like get out of the trade. It's a loser. It's a dud. It's not going to work. Next thing. It's a numbers game, just like sales. So it's like a numbers game. The more you trade, as long as the most of them win, or at least the winners are making more than the losers, that's going to be great. And I think sales is similar in that way, where you could have 100 sales. It's a numbers game. Some are going to
Right.
work, some are not going to work. And if it's not working, stop spending time to make that work. Go on to somebody who actually wants the product or service, somebody who's more qualified. So I think it's actually more similar in that regard.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us about your book.
Yeah, so I got two books out. It's one of them. The first one was Prepping for Success: 10 Keys for Making It in Life. That is a purely a mindset, personal development book. Something that I wrote for myself. Actually, it's like
Wow.
notes to myself on things that I need to do in my own life so I can achieve that success. So once I wrote it down, I started implementing it. I was like, I'm gonna live by this book that I wrote, and I'm gonna apply it in my own life. And I applied it, and I just saw like the tremendous strides that I was making. The things in the past that I would, you know, take me like 3 years to accomplish. I was doing that in a year. And more importantly, I was really feeling good about myself because I was hitting those goals. I was living a life with integrity. So then as I applied it and achieved different levels of success, that's when I finally said, I'm going to put this in a book because it definitely got me to where I am at. And if I could help other people do the same without having for them to spend thousands of dollars on coaches or mentors or, books or attending live events, because I did all of that.
Right.
Like I would be at every seminar you could find me on. I would be on every live event. I could be in every mastermind group, right? I did all of that, but I realized that that was I guess a blessing that I had that a lot of people don't have. They might have the money, but they don't have the time to actually go and travel and do all these things. Or maybe they can, but they don't have the money to do it. So it's like, so the book was basically a culmination of me taking everything that I've learned from everywhere else. And then what are the 10 common things that everybody agrees upon, right? Like what's a thing that you hear 10 different mentors talking about? So I took a lot of that and distilled into the book, and once I applied it, then I put my own understandings behind it. And so that was the Prepping for Success is all about. It's not a trading book, but it will help your trading. It's not a business book, but it'll help your business. It's not a sales book, but it will help your sales. Because regardless of where you go in life or whatever you do, what's going to be with you all the time? Your mindset. You're going to take the same mindset with you every single place. So if you can improve on that, then all of the aspects of your life start improving. And then the new book that I wrote, this was in June that I published it. It's called Mastering the Trader Within. So that is a purely trading psychology book, right? Purely trading psychology book. And that was created after a lot of the work that I do with hedge fund guys. If you watch the TV show Billions, you notice there's a girl there, Wendy Rhodes, right? She's like
Yeah.
the psychologist for hedge fund managers. I'm just like a male version, less pretty version of her, coaching these guys. So same thing I did there. What helped me in my trading? What got me to where I'm at? And then the same concepts that I'm coaching with hedge fund guys that might pay $50,000 for a call. Like, how can I put that in a book format again for people who don't know to have the accessibility to that information? So was the purpose of that book, and the reviews have been great. Love hearing the transformations people are making. But even then, like when I got an editor to look over that book before we published it, or when I had somebody recording the audiobook version of it, they're not traders, but they're like, wow, like all of this stuff applies into my life too. Because again, mindset is the same. Mindset is universal. Psychology is universal no matter what you do. So once you fix that, everything else improves. So even though this was a trading psychology book, non-traders have said that, wow, like these concepts, I'm able to apply that in my own personal life.
That's amazing, man. And where can they find it? If somebody wants to get a hold of your book, what different platforms can they go to?
So Mastering the Trader Within, you could grab it on Amazon or wherever you buy your books, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, wherever I guess you get your books, you can find Mastering the Trader Within. That'd be Amazon probably the best place to get it. the fastest shipping. And as far as the prepping for success, same thing. You can find it anywhere: Barnes and Nobles, Amazon. But I'd love to give your listeners a free copy. They can just go to go.unmol.net, and then they could just cover shipping. And regardless of where you are in the world, we're happy to send you a copy, or you can get it on Amazon. Same thing.
Thank you. Well, there you go, guys. We got some value there, right? So, all right. Now I'm going to ask you like a personal question. You answer to the ability where you're comfortable answering, right? Because I know you. I've been following for years. I know sometimes you can be a little introverted, right? So, what would you say has been the most money you've ever made? Now, let me clarify that. It could be in a month, it could be in a week, it could be in a year. It's not so important the amount as much as that made a shift in you, whether it required some personal development to get to that next level, or how did it make a shift in your life, and where did that make a shift in your life?
Yeah, so I think the biggest shift for me in that was not really looking at the big wins. I've never been like a home run kind of a guy. I've never the guy who's gonna wake up one day and is just gonna be like, "Oh my God, look at my trade just made me $1 million."
Right.
Right? I'm a very singles and doubles kind of guy. Like I don't look at home runs. I don't look at massive gains. Pretty much majority of my
Three
profitable
bar
trades.
plays.
Yeah, my profitable trades are pretty much going to be about the same dollar amount every single trade, because once I hit a certain amount, I just take the profit. So I'm very consistent with making, let's say, $2,000 to $5,000, but then doing it every single day rather than looking for that big home run. I've never been a home runs kind of guy. I have, obviously, Tesla was a good one that I had last year. I bought the stock when it dropped down to 120, when everybody was like, Elon's going crazy. The stock dropped to 120 after the political stuff. I bought a bunch of shares of that thing, and I mean, you can see now it's gone up to like $400 or $500. So you could just do the math on that. It's a pretty hefty
Nice.
gain. It was a nice
Nice.
high six-figure trade in just less than about a week when I first sold it. The
Wow.
long-term one I'm still holding, so I'm not even looking at how much I'm up or down, because then you get tempted. So I'm
Right,
not even going
right.
to look at that. But the short-term trade that we had is I bought at 120, went up to 300. I think made like $250,000 in less than a week. So that was pretty good. The most recent one was Intel that we just did last week. Actually, this is a very recent. We had a very small position. I think we put in $9,000 worth of Intel call options, and then the next day, Nvidia decided to put $5 billion on Intel. Stock opened higher, and just $9,000 turned into like $35,000, and that was like less than 8 hours of holding it.
Wow. That's amazing, dude. All right. So, trading is also similar to sales in that sometimes you hear or you partake, it depends, of some crazy stories of things that happening, especially when you've got people that have never really made a lot of money and all of a sudden they're making a lot of money, right? So what's like the craziest thing that you've ever seen happen or heard happen, within the trading space?
Um, well, I mean, I've done a lot of crazy stuff, but
Well,
it's like
I left it open for you just in case.
yeah, there's a truth to that. It's like growing up, everybody tells you, when you make a lot of money, be careful. And when you haven't made it, you're like, let me make it first. I'll deal with it later, right? Everybody tells you to be cautious when you make a lot of money when you're young. And I would always say, nah, I'll be different. I'll handle it. I'm not gonna make the same mistakes that everybody else makes because I'm different, right? So we all think that. Whenever people used to tell me that, I used to always say, "Let me make it first, right? Then we'll see." And then I think I made money pretty quickly in my 20s when I had my first seven figure. You know, I thought I'm not going to change anything, but things do change in your psychology.
Of course.
Yeah, and you just
Especially
start.
the first time around.
Yeah, and the numbers like a few 10,000 here and there doesn't like hurt, when you have in the bank. So I think I made a lot of mistakes. Where my mistakes were more to do with, I think, my inner psychology. Right? As I mentioned earlier, like I was always an introvert, never the popular kid, right? And I was never the one who was socially very, savvy. Let's just say growing up. So now I have all this money. I'm getting all this attention from women, right? I'm in New York City. I'm hosting all these different events. Heck, I was even like judging the swimsuit USA at one point, right? I was hosting the after party for New York Fashion Week, right, in my house.
Wow.
There was like 90 people, 90 models, and like their agents and everybody in my house during COVID, because during COVID there was a 10-person limit in events gatherings in New York City. So the guy hit me up. He's got like 80, 90 models for New York Fashion Week. He's like, we got to take him somewhere. I'm like, bring him over. Bring him to my place. So it was like a
I'll help
night
you
club.
out.
Yeah, it was like 90 people in my like place in New York City, and New York City apartments, condos are not that big.
No.
So fitting that amount of people in there, and just spending crazy amounts of money. We're going to Club 11 in Miami, dropping like
Yep.
20,000 in a night. So like a lot of stupid stuff, but then you realize that where those things are coming from, right? Like it came from all the past. So you realize that. So in a way, I'm grateful for all of that, right? Because I got that out of my system now, right? I got it all out of my system, did everything I wanted to do, and now I can focus on the legacy and building wealth and the long-term stuff. So there's a lot of crazy stuff, but I think it's important actually to get it out of your system early, because you see who people who don't get it out early, it results into many other random weird ways when they're like 50, 60, 70 years old.
Right.
So I'd rather get it out of my system now and deal with it.
That was awesome, man. Awesome. So this is a question that I ask every single person on my podcast. It's usually how I close it up, right? And so let's say that you went back in the future and you got in touch with your 20-year-old, you come across your 20-year-old self, right? And your 20-year-old self is either becoming a salesperson or even becoming a trader. Good, really good, just not great yet,
Yep.
right? What would you tell your 20-year-old self as advice? Because guess what? The majority of the people that see my podcast is somewhere between the ages of 20 and 50, and that's exactly their MO, right? So what would you give that person as advice?
I think the first thing I mean, it depends. I think the personal part of the advice is going to be like, don't compare yourself with other people, right? Don't compare. There's not a race. It's the tortoise and the hare. You can be slow and steady and you're going to finish the race, right? Or you can try to go fast, because when you compare yourself with other people, then you're like, yeah, I made $1 million, but look at that crypto guy who just made 10 million. Maybe I should put my money in Bitcoin, right? Like not comparing yourself with other people's speed or other people's timeline, and just focusing on, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing what I want to do? And reverse engineering your life. Like, okay, what do I want my life to look like when I'm 30? If I'm 20, I want to look at what want it to look like when I'm 30, and then reverse engineer that process, because a lot of people never think about what the lifestyle that they want. They just think about how much money goal that I want to hit. So if you have the money goal, sure, you could get the money goal, but what if you're working all day long and just working all week long to make that money, but you have no lifestyle now? So you're going to burn out. You're not going to feel fulfilled. So it's like reverse engineering your life, so that, like in the past, I'll tell you, I was trading stocks every morning, right, from 9 o'clock till the market closes at 4 p.m. And then when the market closes, well, the market's going to be opening over in India or somewhere. I'll trade the Indian stock market. Or when that closes, well, Forex is 24/7. I'll trade Forex. And I would literally be in my computer all day long. My health was a complete mess. Right? I gained a lot of weight. And just overall, like, health stuff was just going all wrong, because I would not leave. I would just sit and trade all day. Middle of the night, alarms would go off, and I'm like, oh, what's happening in the dollar, or what's happening on the euro or the yen? And I would just like not get enough sleep. So I had the money, I had everything, right? But I was just not doing anything with it. There was no life there. So recently for me, even as soon as like this year, it's just been a process of not looking at the money, but what the life that I want to live. What does the ideal day look like? Okay, ideal days, maybe I get done working at 11 or 12. Maybe I have great conversations with people the rest of the day. Maybe I go out, work out. Maybe I play golf. Maybe I just go for a walk, right? But like reverse engineering the life. And I think then once you start hitting the goals, you don't have to change a thing, because you're maintaining the life. But if you just focus on the goal, ignore the lifestyle, then you're going to get there and you're going to realize, oh no, that's not what I wanted. So I think that's to keep it long, it's like, that's what I would do, is just say, don't compare yourself with other people, take it slow, and then look at the life you want rather than the money you want.
Man, that was deep. Anmol, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We're so blessed to have you on. Guys, my name is Coach Ceelo, and I have helped thousands of sales experts and sales pros reach, attain, and maintain six figures. You keep listening to this podcast, you'll be the next. We're out of here.